Welcome to Lord Jupiter and to a new week, and Thomas Miller here on the Fun Astrology Podcast. Yes, I'm still around. Oh, you guys, I got body slammed last week, and I know I've seen people talking about the energy, although I haven't seen much except brown cardboard boxes since we last talked. It's been an amazing time, and just to bring you really quick up to speed on that, but we've got a lot to talk about in this week's chart, and I'm not going to be able to do it in this episode, but I will come back, and it might even be an in-between episode because I really do want to get caught up on all of this, and this is going to be a pretty big week. What happened last week is, in the press of getting everything together, I messed up the awning in Lord Jupiter. And the bottom line is the awning has to be completely replaced. But it's quite a story. I'll tell it on a Subconscious Mind Mastery podcast that I'm going to get all of these caught up. I promise. But basically, I had to rush and race to get everything complete for all of the things that have to be lined up with all of this. You know, as you've all moved, I know that I kind of crescendoed toward the end of the week, and I just had nothing left. I had to take a break, and I was like just peeling stuff off and throwing stuff in boxes, and it was a mess. But we got it, and yesterday, on Sunday, I left North Carolina, and the really cool thing is that on my way down here to Atlanta, which is the first stop to get the windshield of the van fixed, I was able to stand right on my Venus line. And that was just really awesome. And I am documenting all of this for video. But if you're not in our Facebook group, that's where I'm going to be able to post this stuff probably the easiest and the quickest. And I am going to do some live updates along the way. And yes, Robert Glasscock and I are talking that from here, I will go to Little Rock, and Robert and I will get to meet face-to-face in person on Thursday morning, I think is when it's going to be, Thursday morning. So that's kind of a trip update. It has been quite a bit, but at least I'm out and I'm on the road, and things will start to get better. So this is a really quick little touch base before I get ready to go get the windshield fixed. So I'm still in dishevel right now, but I wanted to just talk about a couple of things that are coming up this week. Today, it's actually pretty quiet. The action really begins in the morning. Quick overview now here, and I apologize. I will come back and get this caught up. But at 3:30 in the morning Eastern, Mars squares Jupiter. Ooh, cha-ching number one. And you know what happened last week? There wasn't that much energy in the sky, but it was the aspecting planets to my natal chart that caused all the challenges, particularly Pluto applying in a square to my big three. So you have to look at these things in light of your own chart and see where these things are. And that's where the Fun Astrology 101 course can help you. If you need to learn to speak the language, we've got you where you can at least get up to this point where you can start to look at these things and put them together for yourself, because that's obviously the ultimate goal. But Mars squares Jupiter in the morning, so we'll be sitting in that all day. And that's just an amplification of Mars energy. Oh, Lord. And Mars was one of the ones that got me last week. And keep in mind that this is all happening while also we're having this massive amount of solar flare activity. They're not releasing so many CMEs, or the coronal mass ejections, so we're not getting the energy from them. But there are some really big explosions happening on the sun's surface right now, and I just can't help but think that that's all been part of this too, that we've all been feeling that one way or another. So this Mars amplification, so I mean that energy is in the space today, and I'm the last one who should say take a big chill pill, because I know, I mean I've just felt the pressure that all of us feel when deadlines and demands are upon us, and we just have to tread water until we can get out of it. But fortunately, there's always an ending. Then on Wednesday, now listen to this. I mean, this Wednesday's a big day because we're moving toward this big triple stellium, and it begins stacking up at 3:45 in the morning with the Sun conjuncting Mercury first. And then Mercury conjoins Saturn, so they're together. Now we're all in there together. That's at 10:07 in the morning. And then at 4:25 p.m., the Sun conjuncts Saturn. So there's your triple stellium at 9 degrees in Pisces. Sun, Mercury, Saturn, all together. And this is kind of interesting doing this because so I have 3 together at 6 degrees, right? And it is rare that you have 3 at the same degree. But if I were doing this podcast, or if someone were doing this podcast back in 1959, a couple of days ahead of my own birth, they would have said something similar to this, that these planets start to come together. But today, see, and this is the thing, is backing up. This is such a powerful stellium that backing up from it, today we're feeling this energy. So let's take a look at those again. Then that's going to be it. I'll stop there, and then I will come back and get these podcasts caught up, and we'll talk more about the in-depth part of this energy. But I just want you to know what's going on, that tomorrow we have Mars squaring Jupiter. That's a big thing that we'll be feeling today. And also is this triple stellium, this huge black hole of energy in time and space, in the energetic field, is coming together. The Sun and Mercury. So there's communication, there's our intellect, there's our mind, there is how we share information back and forth, how we process information, how we learn information. And then Mercury conjoining Saturn. Now, here's where the collective could have a challenge, because the collective is taking the low side of Saturn most of the time. So there's Lord Karma at the table. What karmic purpose does this serve? This is a huge conjunction. Oh my. And then the Sun, of course, capping it off, conjoining Saturn at 4:30, basically on Wednesday afternoon. And then that just makes this whole thing very Saturnian. I had a long conversation with Robert yesterday as I was driving out of North Carolina, and I'll get that posted up on podcasts as well. I'm going to try to do that frequently through this trip. And we were talking about Saturn and Pluto's influence in this whole thing that's going on in my own life. And, you know, as he was talking about, Pluto is square to your big 3, and Saturn is in this, you know, these various aspects that he talked about in the solar arc chart. I'm like, you know, you keep talking. I'm just going to pull this thing over, because it does invoke fear. Pluto being at the table, and it is at the table all year, as we've been saying, because it's sitting there at the guardhouse of Aquarius at 0 degrees, 1 degree, 2 degrees, and then it goes back. So we're not getting out of this energy anytime soon. So, to me, we might as well choose the high timeline side, right? And that's what Robert was saying is, well, look at who you were then and look at who you are now. And it really all does depend on how we choose to experience these energies. All right, I know that's a little short and a bit incomplete, but at least we're touching base, and I will be back and we will dissect all of this, because this is a really special week in the sky, and we're going to get it. All right? Pray for my windshield today. That's the one thing. They're going to rip it out. I hope they get another one back in there. We'll see. All right, you guys take care. I love you, and I will be back. Bye-bye.